Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited about this episode because today we are talking about something that I think about every single day in my work. And I truly believe that it is the most misunderstood concept in the entire conversation around business growth. You want to know what the concept is, right? That concept is the difference between customer experience and client relationships. Now, not too much on me. I know it sounds like that's a semantic argument, and you're probably thinking, aren't those the same thing? And I get it. On the surface, they sound very similar. And I want to show you today that they are fundamentally different concepts, that they produce different outcomes, and that most service businesses, including maybe yours, have been trying to solve a relationship problem with some sort of experience framework. And doing so is costing you clients you've already earned. So this episode is going to be long. I want you to grab a notepad, get ready to take notes, and buckle up because we're about to get into it. Welcome to More Than a Brand, the podcast for growth stage service business CEOs who are tired of watching clients they've already earned quietly walk out the back door while they keep spending money to bring new ones in the front. I'm Lindsay Tramel-Jones, the CEO of Fiercified Consulting. I'm Lindsay Tramel-Jones, the CEO of Fiercified Consulting. I'm a client relationship strategist and an Army veteran. This show is about the one thing most business advice skips entirely, the relationship your team builds with clients every single day. This isn't about marketing, funnel. It is about the relationship. You've done the hard part. Let's make sure your team can sustain what you built. This is More Than a Brand. Let's get into it. Let me start with a simple definition of each. Customer experience is about what happens. It is about the systems, the processes, the touch points, the journey a customer moves through from moment they discover you to the moment they buy to everything that comes after. Customer experience asks, did we deliver what we promised at each stage? Was it efficient? Was it consistent? Was it frictionless? Now, on the other hand, when we're talking about client relationships are about feelings. They ask completely different questions, such as, did the client feel seen? Did they feel valued? Did they feel like they mattered beyond the transaction? Now, here's the important part. Customer experience was built for enterprise. If you're not an enterprise business, the fundamentals of customer experience and the tools that it used was not designed for you. It was designed to solve a very specific problem. How do you create consistency and reduce friction when you're serving thousands or millions of customers across dozens of channels and systems? And the tools that CX gave us, journey maps, satisfaction surveys, experience audits, are genuinely useful answers to that problem. Here's what nobody tells you. Those tools were built for scale. They were built for a context where a relationship between the business and the customer is fundamentally impersonal, and that was by design. Your business is not that. If you are a growth stage service business, a coaching practice, a consulting firm, a wellness studio, legal practice, a photographer, PR agency, your product is not a widget moving through a supply chain. Your product is the expertise and the care that your team delivers to another human being. The relationship is not a byproduct of the experience. For you, the relationship is their experience. And unfortunately, when you try to improve a relationship using experience tools, you end up with a beautifully mapped journey and clients who still don't feel like they matter. Research from New Media Voice shows that 68% of clients leave because they feel unappreciated. Not that you underserved them or overcharged them, but because they feel unappreciated. Y'all remember that song, Unappreciated? That's what your clients are singing as they're slowly waltzing out the door and not returning or bringing their friends. But with that being said, we have identified that this is a relationship failure, and no journey map in the world is going to show you how to fix that. Okay, let me show you what this looks like in practice with 3 companies. 2 of them are big. 1 of them is mid-sized business. You may have heard of all 3, but they all make the distinction between experience and relationship completely undeniable. So let's jump into example 1, Amazon. So Amazon is the gold standard for customer experience. And I really mean that as a compliment, and I mean it genuinely, because the experience with shopping with Amazon has been and continues to be unmatched by most e-commerce businesses. Amazon has perfected the experience of buying something. Some of the ways they have perfected it is by adding the one-click purchase, the 2-day shipping, an easy return process. I seen a post that said, I love Amazon because they'd rather give me my money back than argue with me. They've also created a recommendation engine that somehow knows you need printer paper before you do. The journey is seamless. It's easy for you to find what you need, make the purchase, get it to your door, and move on. The system is frictionless, and the experience is excellent. They have done the damn thing at Amazon. But here's the thing. Amazon does not know your name. Amazon does not know your goals, your struggles, your story. Amazon's recommendation engine knows your purchase history, but that is not the same thing as knowing who you are. They know you need toilet paper every 2 weeks, but they don't know why you need the toilet paper every 2 weeks. If you stop using Amazon today, nobody there would notice. And nobody's going to reach out or wonder, what happened to Sarah? Amazon is a masterpiece of customer experience, and it is completely and deliberately transactional in the way that they do business. And that works for Amazon because they're selling you a product that has nothing to do with a personal relationship. You don't need Amazon to know your name to get your package delivered. But if you are a service business CEO, if your clients are paying you for your expertise, your guidance, your presence in their business, they need more than a seamless transaction. They need to feel the relationship. Now, let me tell you about a company that sells some of the same exact products that Amazon sells. Those products are pet food and pet supplies, but built completely different. Let's jump into Chewy. Chewy was founded in 2011, and at that time, Amazon was already dominant in e-commerce. Amazon been around since, I want to say, 1994. It has grown into the industry that it is now over time, but in 2011, it was already running the e-commerce streets. So any sane investor would have said, you cannot compete with Amazon on price. A lot of times we like to compete on price, but you have to know what you're up against. They also said you cannot compete with them on logistics. Amazon has their own trucks. They have locked down the warehouse side of things. Amazon has a well-oiled machine. And if you were also an investor and you were talking to Chewy, you would say you cannot compete with them on selection. And why would anyone choose Chewy over Amazon? Because I could just get it at Amazon, right? So here's why. Chewy decided not to compete on experience because we've already discussed how Amazon has had enough time and enough resources to dominate that piece. But they decided to compete on relationship. Chewy's customer service team answers calls within 4 seconds. I don't even know if Amazon has a phone number to call if you're having a problem. There's no automated menus. It's a real human who has no time limit on the call and the authority to make decisions without the manager's approval. I want to run that back one more time. Without the manager's approval, without the CEO stepping in, the person on the call has the authority to make those decisions. So the relationship that they're building with the customers or the clients is easy to build because there's not a lot of friction points for them to go through. All right, let me keep it moving. Chewy also goes further than that. When a new customer places their first order, they might receive a handwritten note from a customer service agent who handled their account. Sometimes it was the drawing of their pet. And then there are stories that went viral and kind of broke the internet a few years back about how great of a customer service and a customer relationship that Chewy has built with some of their customers. So I'm going to give you one of those examples. A customer contacted Chewy after their dog passed away to return an unopened bag of prescription food. The agent processed the refund immediately. So number one, she's satisfied she getting her money back. Number two, they told her to donate the food to a shelter rather than shipping it back. And then before we keep going, I want to take 30 seconds to talk about something. If you are a growth stage service business CEO with a team of 3 or more people and clients are coming in but consistently not coming back, I want you to hear this. 68% of clients leave not because of price, not because of competitor, but because they felt unappreciated. That is not a marketing problem. That is a relationship problem, and it almost always lives in how your team shows up when you are not in the room. FlowTribe is the engagement I built to fix that. 2 weeks, 4 lessons, your whole team. We diagnose exactly where the relationship is breaking down using your Flow Lab data, and then we train the team to build a standard that holds without you holding it together. If that sounds like something you've been looking for, go apply at fierceified.agency. I review all the applications personally, and I can't wait to see you in FlowTribe. All right, back to the episode. A few days later, they sent a bouquet of flowers to her door with a condolence card that was handwritten. That story got shared hundreds of thousands of times, not because it was a marketing stunt and it's something they had put out in the atmosphere, but it's because it's something that felt like a friend would do, not a company. And Chewy created their business like that by design, by ensuring that their team members understood the assignment. Well, here's some of the results. Chewy sold to PetSmart for $3.35 billion. They hold 41% of the online pet supply market. Their customers spend an average of $591 per year, and their retention numbers are extraordinary because customers who feel the relationship don't leave for a competitor who is $2 cheaper. Chewy is a big company. They have about 20,000 employees. And the reason why I'm using them as an example is not because you need to send your clients a hand-painted portrait or you need to do the same things that they're doing. The reason I'm using them is because Chewy proves something important. Relationship and experience are different strategies. And relationships done right will win every time. What Chewy understood that Amazon didn't bother with is this. Their customers don't just own pets. They are pet parents. The pet is a part of the family. And if you treat a pet parent like family, if you show up at a moment of grief with flowers and a handwritten note, you have not just retained a customer. You have created someone who will never leave. And they will tell everyone that they know. Now ask yourself this. What is the equivalent of the pet for your clients? What is the thing they care about so deeply that if you showed up for it, and I mean really showed up, they would never go anywhere else. Now let's get into the third example. Zappos is an online shoe retailer that was acquired by Amazon in 2009 for about $1 billion. And I personally find this example particularly powerful for service businesses because the lesson here is specifically about the team. So Zappos built its entire company culture around one idea. Happy employees create happy customers. Kind of like happy wife, happy life. Their founder believed that you cannot train someone to genuinely care about a customer, but you can build a culture where caring is the standard and then hire people who already have it. Zappos offered its new hires $2,000 to quit after their first week of training. Wasn't a threat, it was a test. They wanted to know that the people who stayed chose to be there, that they believed in the culture that they were creating at Zappos, and that they weren't just showing up for a paycheck. How many jobs have you had that if they offered you $2,000 to quit after the first week, you would just took the $2,000? You're not alone, because I would have took the $2,000 too for some of these jobs. On top of choosing not to take the $2,000, those people that stayed with Zappos were giving something that almost no call center in the world gives, and that's freedom. There was no scripts, no time limits on calls, no escalation requirements. A Zappos customer service agent was empowered to do whatever it took to make the customer happy. Now, I worked at a call center a long time ago, back when you would call 411, and the goal was to answer the call, give the information, get the people off as fast as possible. And the faster you were, the more money you got. Zappos flipped that concept and was like, look, do whatever it takes to keep people happy. There is a legendary story of a Zappos rep who spent over 10 hours on a single customer call. And the peculiar thing about this is that they were not fixing the problem. They were just talking. According to the story, the customer's lonely, needed someone to talk to, and the rep stayed on the line. That story made headlines because it is outrageous by the standards of most customer service operations, but it is completely consistent with the Zappos philosophy. The relationship with the customer matters more than the efficiency of the interaction. Here's what I want you to take from Zappos' example for your own business. The relationship your clients feel is not something the CEO can deliver alone. It is something the team delivers every day in every interaction, whether the CEO is in the room or not. Zappos did not build a great customer relationship by coaching the CEO on how to be more empathetic. They built it by training the entire team on what great looks like and giving them the authority to deliver it. That is exactly what is missing in most growth stage service businesses. It's not strategy. It's not systems. Y'all have Honeybook, Dasado, Notion, 7 Hats, all the things, HubSpot. You have systems, but a trained team with a shared standard for what a strong client relationship feels like and the authority to deliver it without waiting for the CEO to show up, that right there, that is gold. All right. So this has gotten a little bit long, but I'm about to wrap it up here, and I promise you. I want to leave you with 3 questions, and I want you to answer these honestly, not the way you want things to be, but the way they are right now in this moment. Question number 1, when a client doesn't come back, do you know which moment in the relationship was the turning point? Not that I think it was something in the delivery, something very specific. The conversation where the energy shifted and the touch point where they started to kind of pull away and feel like a transaction instead of a person. If you cannot name that moment, not because nothing happened, but because nobody was paying attention closely enough to notice, that is a relationship visibility problem. And it almost always means the relationship is being managed by instinct, not intention. Question 2. If you remove yourself from the client relationship as the CEO for 30 days, 30 complete days, what would change? Would your client still feel the same level of care? Would your team show up in the same way? If the honest answer is no, if things would quietly degrade, then the relationship is being sustained by your personal bandwidth, not a team standard, not a shared culture, but by you. And that dependency limits your growth, your freedom, and your ability to scale this business without it falling apart when you step. And finally, question 3. Has your team ever sat down together and defined what a strong client relationship looks like in your specific business? And I'm not talking about handing them some SOPs and training them on your processes or some onboarding document that covers the logistics, like a real conversation with everyone in the room where you said, this is what great looks like at every stage. This is the standard we are committing to, and this is what it means to work here. If that conversation has never happened, your relationship standard is implicit and inconsistent. It means that the client experience varies depending on who picks up the phone that day. And you are hoping rather than designing for the relationship to hold. Listen, here's the bottom line. Amazon built the best customer experience in the history of e-commerce, and nobody calls Amazon a relationship. Chewy built a pet supply company on handwritten notes, painted portraits, and flowers at the door, and sold it for $3.35 billion. Zappos gave their team the freedom, no scripts, and 10-hour customer calls, and built one of the most loyal customer bases in retail history. The difference between those outcomes is not strategy. It is the decision to make the relationship, the human connection, the feeling of being seen and valued, the thing you actually designed with your entire team. That is what Fierceified helps growth stage service businesses do. We go into the room with your entire team, not just you as the CEO, and we build the relationship standard that keeps your clients coming back without it all depending on you. If you want to see where your client relationship is breaking down right now, before we even have a conversation, start with FlowLab. It's completely free. takes about 20 to 30 minutes to complete, and it will show you exactly which stage is costing your client relationships to break down. I'll put the link in the show notes, but you can go to flowlab.fiercify.agency and get started there. And if this episode landed for you, like if you heard yourself in any of these 3 questions, share it with another CEO who needs to hear this. But this conversation is not happening nearly enough in the rooms where service business owners are trying to figure out why they keep losing clients they've already earned. Thank you for listening. We are more than a brand. We are building something that lasts. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Remember, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date. Find us on social media at fiercified.agency on Instagram, or find us on Facebook at Fiercified Creative and Consultant.